Welcome to Inside the Circle, a podcast to entertain as well as educate. Every athlete's journey is unique along paths that have been well traveled. I'm Coach Pat, and I've been blessed to be just a small part of hundreds of kids' softball journeys over the last 2 decades. But the softball journey your daughter is on today is not just a journey toward a destination of playing college softball. It's also a journey of figuring out who she is as a young adult through the game of softball. And parents, you're on a journey as well. You are your child's biggest advocate, as you should be. You are your child's biggest fan, as you should be. But you're also doing it in an environment when you recognize you need to step back and let them figure out who they are as a young adult. That is why Inside the Circle exists. What starts out as a pretty pink bat, a pretty pink helmet, a hit that everybody claps for and goes on grandma's Facebook, quickly turns into confusion, noise, pressure, politics, a lot of questions, and a second mortgage. What team should we play on? Should we be doing camps? What level should we play at? Should we be in recruiting? Should she play up? Should she play high school ball? These are all questions that the softball world and parents deal with every day. The guests appearing on the show have been down those paths. And once down those paths, they've spent the majority of their life in the game of softball as it exists today. Some of the guests appearing will talk about the history as pioneers of our modern game. Others will come on and share their knowledge of where the trends are in the modern game today. Both perspectives have value to the parents, the coaches, and the kids. So let's get inside the circle. Today's episode, the first episode of Inside the Circle with Coach Pat, it's just me, Coach Pat. It won't always be me just talking, I promise. But today I thought it was important to lay out the structure of the podcast and what I hope you, as a viewer, get out of it. There's so many things to talk about around the sport of softball, and it's exciting. But it's my hope that each episode you leave with 3 poignant points to either agree with, disagree with, or think about. There'll be guests on the show, long distinguished guests that will have more points and covering more history. The first point, I wish I knew then what I know now. Like anything in life, the perspective I have after 20 years is a lot different than the perspective I had on day one as a parent. They tell you to trust the process, but no one really explains what that process is. You see, we start out, we're excited, our child's playing, she's with her friends, we're at the local park. Soon, we're traveling 2 towns over. We're spending all our day on Saturday and Sunday there. We're spending money on lessons. This team's going over here, that child's going over there. What should we do? Someone in the bleachers gives you an opinion, which is fine, except there's 10 people in the bleachers with 10 different opinions. And how do we make heads or tails of it all? And then the pressure comes, particularly for the players that have some talent. If your daughter's one of those that has talent at a younger age, and she's one of the players that the team relies on, it's a drip. We tend to put more pressure on that child and more pressure on that child to carry the team as she moves up, she moves up, she moves up. It's not fair to the child. And then there's the politics of it all. We're human. Parents, coaches, any adults, we don't belong in the sandbox with the kids. They can figure it out. But we're human and we can't help ourselves. You see, your daughter, they really don't care about the wins and the losses as much as they care about the relationships. I used to have former players come back once their college season ended, and they would help me with the young teams that I was coaching. And they would tell these kids, I wish I had one more time on the field playing with my travel teammates. Now they're getting their fix of softball with their college team, but they didn't realize how much they enjoyed the relationships and playing with the kids that they came up through in travel ball. It wasn't about who they played or they win or lost. It was just those memories, those relationships and friendships. See, what they understand though is the scoreboard does not follow your daughter into adulthood. The memories she makes, the lessons she's learned through softball, and the resilience she has grown into the person that she is, that's what she takes with her. The second point I want to share with you in this opening episode is what I've learned from coaching youth sports. You see, I have coached softball for over 20 years, but I've been coaching youth sports, both boys and girls, since I was 17 years old. I'm now 60. So I will pause and let you take out your calculator. But what I have learned is that it's ones that go the furthest down the road are not always the most talented. They're the ones that persevere, that learn resilience, and the ones that build self confidence. 3 lifelong skills they will need that they've developed through the sport of softball. I've seen gifted athletes leave the game because they don't love it anymore, and that's okay. But I've also seen athletes that love the game but have left it because the noise just got too loud and it wasn't fun anymore. And I've seen more than a few kids that have said to me, I don't love the game anymore. I don't want to play it anymore, but my parents will be mad. And so they continue to play and parents continue to spend money. But the other thing I hear from parents is, particularly when a player's new, hey, you need to push my child, push her, push her. And while it's true, growth happens when a player is in an uncomfortable situation beyond what they think they can do. But for a coach, any coach, to be able to move that player into that uncomfortable area of growth, that player has to trust that coach. And that doesn't happen on day one. That coach needs to learn that player not just as a player, but as an individual. What makes them tick? Some of them, they need a kick in the butt. Others, they need a pat on the back. Others just need to be left alone. And I don't know that, or any coach doesn't know that on day one. But they're all tools toward what we ultimately want, is just to make your child better. That's for parents as well as coaches. On that ride home, just be a parent. You'll have plenty of time. That coach has you for a couple hours. Parents, you have them for the other 21 hours of the day. Lucky you. But on that ride home, just be a parent. Whether they've done wonderful and you're giving the clap, or they had a rough day, and you know there's going to be another good day, but right now they probably don't want to talk about it unless they bring it up. You see, you cannot be a parent or coach your kid through your eyes and your standards. It doesn't work. That is your child, but she is, or he is, a person that's trying to figure it all out. I once had a parent say to me, I have to realize that she's not me. That self-awareness was probably one of the most honest statements a parent could have ever said out loud, because we want what's best for our child, but how we would do things or the standards we have may not be what your child is. I'm a very loud, boisterous person. My daughter, very soft-spoken. So I'm like, what's the matter with you? What's wrong with you? She said, nothing. She's figuring out. She's good to go. So you cannot coach your kid or be a parent in your standard of what you think they should do unless you know who they are. And a coach cannot push that child unless that child trusts them. And to trust them, they need to know them more than just a person on the field. The third point I would like you to take away from this episode is that we're in this together. I'm a coach, but I'm always learning. You're a parent going through this journey with your child. This show is for that new parent in the bleachers, new to softball, their daughter's new to softball, trying to figure it all out. It's exciting. The future is bright. It's also for that parent in the bleachers that maybe the brightness has come off the luster a little bit. They're disenfranchised. They're a little confused. They're looking for some clarity. It's for that coach that wants to do the right thing, that's looking for a little wisdom, a little perspective. Most importantly, it's for that player who's starting to take the sport seriously and is curious what their journey may look like or what that path may look like as they move down on their journey. Thank you for joining me today. I hope I gave you 3 points to think about. After spending 2 decades on the field, literally coast to coast, I could tell you that your daughter's journey is definitely unique. But the paths you will travel down have been walked down before. And that's what we hope to bring you in Inside the Circle, to bring guests into the circle that have been down those paths, stay down those paths, and given their life to softball in some way or another in the game. They have been where you've been. I've been where you've been. And that's why this show exists. Starting with my next episode, in which we will be joined by Mike Candrea. Mike Candrea is truly one of the pioneers of the modern day game. He coached University of Arizona for 37 years and won 8 national championships. So wherever you get your podcast, please, you don't want to miss this. Until next time, we will see you inside the circle. Thanks for spending some time inside the circle with me today. If this episode hit home with you, please share it with another coach, parent, or player who needs to hear it. That's how we grow this community. We're in this circle together. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. And if you want to stay connected, head over to CoachPatFastPitch.com to sign up for my newsletter. Until the next time, keep it in the circle. I'm Coach Pat, and I'll see you on the diamond.